I'm Bill Scott, and I'm a painter and printmaker. I've lived in Philadelphia my entire life. When I was in my early 30s, I remember going to a lecture of a painter, and he said that visual artists, unlike performing artists, usually come into their own vision at somewhere between the age of 35 and 45, when a performing artist would be retiring. It just takes that long to absorb and to sort through all the influences. And I was really discouraged, and I thought, oh my God, I'm 32, I don't want to wait any, like impatience. But I think I didn't really come into my own as a painter and my own vision until I was about 47. I used to collect postcards of paintings from museums. They were like baseball cards for painters. When I was about 15, 16 years old, I started to write articles on painters. And I became very interested in Berthe Morisot, and I tried to find all her pictures and get reproductions of them. There was this one painting I loved, and I couldn't get a reproduction of it, so I ended up writing an article on her for American artists, but I did it with the condition that they would reproduce that painting in color. I went to the Academy of Fine Arts in Philadelphia. There was one teacher, Ben Kamahira, and at night when I was going home, he would always invite me in maybe 3-4 times a week, just for 15, 20 minutes, and he would just show me how his painting was progressing. So I'd see it in a day-by-day way and how it evolved and unfolded. And it wasn't verbal, it was visual. And I learned so much more from that than I would have learned from someone who just talked and talked and talked at me. I always tease people that I'm a nearsighted realist painter, that without my glasses on, this is the way the world looks. My pictures relate very much to landscape. To me, they feel more like landscapes than some very representational paintings I've seen. When I moved here, I remember a friend of mine asked me what I was going to plant in the garden. I wasn't going to plant anything in the garden. It was the last thing on my mind, but I thought, oh no, I've got to make a garden. I found that I ended up painting a garden rather than making a garden in my backyard. I created this imaginary perfect garden that I could paint, and I did that for years. When I was looking for a place to live, I found I was painting rectangles a lot, and I would end up putting a little door in them and then a window, and I was painting my house that I was looking for. And once I found a house to live in, I stopped painting those houses. In 1999, I went over and met Cindy Ettinger. I started making prints, and I kind of loved it because there was an authority in the etched line that I never feel that I can get in a pencil line. A few years later, I got a grant from the Independence Foundation. So I spent a year making color etchings. Did 57 different versions of a 6 or 7 color etching. I learned more about color that way. Because of the way Cindy Ettinger inked the plates with very little ink, I started using much less thick paint application in my own canvases. I could get a luminosity through a thin layer of paint using a small amount of white or no white to have the white ground of the prime canvas shine through the color to give the painting a luminosity. Sometimes when I hit an impasse with a painting and I don't know how to paint it or what to do, I'll think, well, pretend it's an etching, paint an etching, and then I can find a solution. One doesn't need to do what they're taught to do. You can make it happen in a different way. Allowing myself to do what could destroy the picture actually leads me into a way to make the picture really work. Risking failure and destruction, it succeeds. You might not know what anything is in my painting, but I want you to know where it is in space. The pictures all have a foreground, middle ground, background. And I think that's psychologically maybe is similar to me, because I often don't know what's going on, or I don't understand why things are going on the way they are, but I want to know where everybody is in the room. And that's how it relates to my pictures, I think.